It's time for the Metropolitan Report as we talk about the comings and goings and doings of the Metropolitan Amateur Golf Association. There is their executive director, Curt Rohe. And Curt, we have competition.
We do. Yeah. Got off to a start, I guess, 2 weeks ago today with Women's Open Qualifier. And we had our first Amateur Series event and then U.S. Open Qualifying this past Monday. So we're off and running. And
yeah, despite the weather maybe not being the best spring it can be. And we're going to go through those events. But last week we debuted Skip and a Stick. Yeah. And there he is, your buddy and mine, 1981 Belle Reve Country Club, Jim Hochgrieve. I mean, during that interview, I laughed, I cried a little bit.
Yep.
I was sitting watching it as it was being taped and doing all the little things and putting up the pictures. And I mean, clearly two of the best amateurs of all time in St. Louis talking golf.
Yeah, I thought it was great. I watched it as soon as it got out there, and I think Skip did a great job. Jim, obviously his passion, as you said, his passion about his Walker Cup involvement. I just thought he told some good stories, and you're right. They're two of the best that have ever come through St. Louis, and they're passing it along.
No question.
It was great. Great start to that segment.
And those boys used to tee it up in the U.S. Open local qualifying, which was conducted at Spencer T. Olin Community Golf Course over in Alton, Illinois. How many players were in the field, Curt?
Yeah, so we had 76 players, played for 4 qualifying spots to move on to the final stage or sectional stage, which I think will take place June 7th. Around the country. So, smaller field than what we typically have, but it was a good field. A lot of solid players and a lot of solid players.
Yeah, and I've learned a little bit more in the last couple of days. It may be hard for people to see, but Michael Fiegels was part of the trio at 3 under par, and he's an Illinois golfer?
Yeah, he's from Arizona, but he played at University of Illinois for Mike Small. Has had a great career. He's a 5-time All Big Ten performer. How many guys can say they're 5-time? He got the bonus year for the COVID, but Big Ten Player of the Year this year, and 5-time All Big Ten. So no surprise there, him getting through.
I don't know much about Shane Smith. Carr Vernon has been a really good player in the state for a couple years, and obviously there's my man Chris Nagel getting it done, moving on at 2 under par. You know much about Shane Smith?
He's a Godfrey kid. Grew up over there. Went to Lewis and Clark Community College. I can't remember where he went afterwards off the top of my head, but I think he. I think if I go back, he actually played on one of our Mid-America Junior Cup teams going way, back a few years. So always, was a solid high school player. I'm not sure which high school he went to at over in the Alton area, but now he's out there, trying to make a living at it. He actually told me he's got a little bit of status on a couple of these smaller tours because I asked him if we'd see him at the Metropolitan Open. Although I told him I hope I don't see him at the Metropolitan Open because that means he made it to the U.S. Open, which is the same week. But he said, it all depends. He's right on that, on that line of getting in and out of different weeks. So, but yeah, he's a strong player. So again, I think we had 4 really, really quality players get through.
No question about it. And now Wesley Hunter, who's an alternate, he's a big time stick, right?
Yeah, he was a good player. He's been up here several times, qualified for the U.S. Amateur here at least once or twice. He's from Alabama, played at Spring Hill College, still lives down that area. He's been back last few years, played in our Metropolitan Open. Actually played in the U.S. Amateur Qualifier at Spencer T in 2017 when we last had it there because he was involved in a playoff in that as well, which was a 7-hole playoff. But so he remembered that well being back in the playoff, and playing that loop. But yeah, what we know a little bit about Wesley.
So the 4 players that advance will go to sectional qualifying with their shot at Torrey Pines. And do they get to choose, Curt, or is it assigned, or how's that work?
Yeah, so they chose when they registered. When a player registers for the U.S. Open, they choose their local site and they also choose their sectional site. So I'm not exactly sure where they're going. I didn't really ask, but I think they can make that change before local qualifying ends, that window. But yeah, they should have their sectional site chose where they're going.
All right, and now we know 2 women are advancing to the United States Women's Open.
Yep.
You held the qualifier at Old Hickory, a really nice field, some really good players. And the 2 that advance, Maya Stark, who really dominated the day, if you will, at 2 under par, stealing the show, and Emma Talley, who a lot of people have gotten to know the last couple of years. 2 really solid players, Curt, going to the U.S. Women's Open.
Yeah, we were. I was excited to get the U.S. Women's Open qualifier back here. We had it for 4 or 5 years going back. 2017 was the last time we hosted it. So I was glad to get it back. It really has been one of my favorite qualifiers to conduct because of the field. It's a very solid field. A lot of college players, strong college players, and I think that was shown again this year. A little bit smaller, 52 players started off for the 2 spots, but 2 very. Maya Stark was a player out of Oklahoma State, I had a great day, 71-71, and then Emma Talley, as you mentioned, who qualified here in 17 at Bogey Hills. That's when she was still an amateur. I think still an amateur in playing out of Alabama, and then also her. She's known around here for her participation in the Curtis Cup for Ellen Port a number of years ago. So, gosh,
that she was on that team.
Yeah. Yep.
Wow, man, so, we're getting old.
so Emma's been around, and very fond of St. Louis. So, and she got it done. She was she shot 2 under on the back 9 to come in at the 2 over for the day and grab that second spot.
Well, and I mentioned Spencer T and Old Hickory, and this weekend Gateway with the East Side AM. I mean, talk about the golf facilities in the area that allow you to conduct championships, because it's everybody's trying to make as much money as they can and different things like that, but you got good relationships with the facilities around town.
Yeah, you're absolutely right, Jay. And I've sometimes I feel like I'm a broken record on this. Like, as I go around other associations, I preach it that our member clubs and facilities are, I think, some of the best in the country. They're very supportive of what we do and allow us to conduct U.S. Women's Open Qualifier and U.S. Open Qualifier, and all these events. Old Hickory, for example. Pete Christo, the GM out there, he must have thanked me 10 times that day for asking them to host. And it was all the thanks goes to him and the membership and the ownership out there. I mean, we had a few members out that helped us with scoring that day. There were several members who were out watching. It was not a pleasant day. It was a long day. It pretty much rained on us all day long, but a lot of members out there walking, and watching these players. Brett, the pro out of Old Hickory, I think he walked the entire back 9 with Emma just to watch her come in. So that was very cool, and to see that support and that they embrace that and to see and have that quality field and those players come out and have the opportunity to go play in the Women's Open, at their course. So very good.
And now the best amateurs in town get their first shot, if you will, together for the East Side AM at Gateway. And people that know, Gateway is virtually always in really good shape. And it was an interesting challenge last year as it moved over to Gateway. It was a fun tournament.
Yeah, we had a great field last year. We had to push it back a little bit, so we ended up playing in July. But Very strong field, and I think we got a strong field. We got 102 signed up for this weekend. 73 in the open division, 31 or 70, 73 and 73 and 31, so 104 signed up. 31 in the senior division to tee it up this weekend, and the pretty much the cream of the crop is in there. This is really the first point event for Metropolitan Player of the Year. So they're out. They'll start chasing that Player of the Year and everything else that goes on with point standings. Player of the Year, getting into the old Washington Cup next year, and points are also going to talk about maybe next week the Shogun Cup, but the points are important to get on the Shogun Cup team going forward. So a lot, kind of a lot to play for this weekend as our first Metropolitan Championship kicks off.
Yeah, I can't wait. Next week, we're going to talk about what happened at Gateway, and we're going to preview that Shogun Cup, which the teams have been announced. Our man Shogi, the tournament at Belle Reve, a great opportunity for the amateurs and the pros to come together. I did notice on the pro list, and I know that they're a sponsor of mine, but Family Golf Center has got 4 guys on the team. They got Bobby G, they got Blake, Blake. They got Blake.
Yeah.
They got Adam and Sidorcha.
Yeah.
Wow, pretty strong.
Very strong. I think both sides are strong. I was out last week meeting at Belle Reve with Mike a little bit, and I was showing him. I had both lists, and I got them all set up in the computer, and he was looking at our list, and he's like plus 5.6, plus 4.3, looking at their indexes. I think the lowest index from our 14 guys is, I don't think anybody's less than a 0, more than a 0. So
right.
He was like, wow, that's pretty strong itself. So should be great. We're excited to get that going here next week.
Well, I think it's all starting to get exciting, get a little better weather, and it will all be good. And have a great weekend at Gateway. And I will talk to you next week about the East Side AM, and we'll preview the Shogi Cup.
Sounds good. Thanks, Jay.
You got it.